Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Burnt Pancakes podcast, the podcast where we talk about real mom life, the messy moments, the beautiful ones, and everything in between. I'm your host, Katie Fensky, and I remind moms that everyone burns their first pancake. Today's episode is going to be extra special because I am chatting with best-selling children's author Aisha Saeed about her brand new picture book, You and Me, Baby. It's a gentle, emotional love letter to the bond between a parent and their baby and how we're all just learning as we go. Aisha is a mom of three, a powerful voice in children's literature, and one of the founding members of We Need Diverse Books, helping change the way representation shows up on our shelves and in our stories. This conversation is honest and tender, and one every mom, a season one to a new mom, will feel in their bones. So let's get to it. Well, Aisha, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, I am excited to talk all things motherhood with you. So, can you start by introducing yourself and just tell us how many kids you have, how old are they, and where you're from?
Sure. So I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, although I grew up in Florida, and I used to be a teacher. I was a lawyer for many years, or not many years, but many years ago. And I've been an author for the last 10 years, and I've written about 16 books. Most of them are children's books, although I did have an adult book that came out last year. But my most recent book that just came out is this one, You and Me, Baby, which is a picture book, which is kind of an ode to motherhood, and about the journey that a mother and a child take together. And it's based on my own experiences because I'm the mother of three boys. And the
Three
picture,
boys over here.
yeah,
Yay.
you're a boy mom too, right?
Uh-huh. Three
Yeah,
boys.
same
Okay,
here, three boys.
what are their ages? How old are they?
So my oldest who inspired this story, he's 15 now.
Oh my gosh.
And I have a 13-year-old, oh, two teenagers, I just realized as I said it. And I have a 10-year-old. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
you can relate. You can relate.
Yes. Like as a boy mom, sometimes I'm like, I love it. I love having boys, but I look at like the quietness of a girl house. Like, I could use some of that. Like, I was just messaging someone the other day because someone posted a thing about like, if you don't have boys, you don't understand what this chaos. And it was just two boys wrestling in the house. And I'm like, literally, when they're home, there is not a second where it's quiet. And so one friend, I was messaging her and I was like, I think I could take a little of your, like her daughter. I'm like, I could take a little of her girl energy today because it's just so much. It's so much.
Yeah, I grew up with brothers, and most of my I have mostly nephews and just two
Mhm.
nieces, and I always feel bad for my nieces because they're just outnumbered. There's so
A
many boys.
lot. It's a
It's
lot.
just very loud. It is very, but then I think about it. I have a 15-year-old who'll be going to college soon, and then I'm like, okay, then I'm gonna miss this noise, so I'm trying to soak it in
Right.
too.
Oh, that's someone just told me that the other day. They were like, "Hey, Meg, at one point you're not going to have Legos to step on and you're not going to have those toys all over the house." And then you're like, "Oh yeah, I am going to miss that. Like it is going to be a different feeling."
Right,
It's just like that's motherhood, right? Like
right.
it's so hard when you're in it and then boom, like
Yeah.
my oldest is going off to junior high next year. I'm like, how did that happen? Oh my gosh. Ugh. Okay, so your book was inspired by an Instagram post that you posted in 2020. Can you tell us about that post?
Sure, yeah. So back in 2020, as the rest of the world, we were realizing it was funny because I was on book tour when the pandemic
Oh
began.
gosh.
And luckily it wrapped up right before. And then I remember our publishers were like, don't worry, I think we might be out for a week or two. You
Yep.
know?
Oh God. I could clearly remember that. They're gonna go back after spring break, right? No.
Right, right. And then, schools were shut down, and
Mhm.
so many of us moms and dads, everybody was parenting and homeschool, like doing everything. And
Mhm.
I remember, I don't know about your kid. Were your kids on Zoom? Did they do
Oh yeah.
Zoom school? They
We
did.
the rest of the school year and we started the next school year all on Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah,
We were
so
out for a
same here.
long time. Yeah.
And
It was
so,
brutal.
in the beginning we thought, okay, a week or two. Okay, now
Yes.
3 weeks, now 4 weeks. And
Doable. Hmm.
and then, the kids hated it. I don't know if your kids liked it,
Absolutely.
but
My oldest was in kindergarten. And so
oh
he
my
got to see his
gosh.
two little brothers playing and kindergarten, like you can't even keep them on for 10 minutes, let alone like
Right.
they need to be on for 4 hours. Oh my God, it was,
Right, right. I had a
yeah.
fourth, my, I had a fourth grader, I had a first grader, and I had a 4-year-old. And
Oh,
so It was impossible, and it was impossible to get them on the screen, to get them to
Mm-hmm.
focus. And then as we, as the semester went on and we realized that the next school year looked like it was going to
Right.
be the same, we said this doesn't work. Like we cannot keep doing this. And luckily we were in a position, my husband was working from home during the pandemic. I'm an author. I work from home,
Mm.
that we were in that position that we were lucky enough that we could do this. And so we decided we were going to homeschool them. And I taught second grade, but it's a
Okay.
different,
I
yeah.
wanted to ask you because you said you were a teacher. So you taught
Yeah.
for, okay.
And did
I,
you
I did.
teach as well? You
I
did?
did for,
Okay.
I taught for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
So I did the first 11 years I was in the classroom. And then the last bit I did as like an independent study homeschool like advisor. So
Oh, so you know about
I
homeschooling. Okay.
totally had experience. I worked with homeschooled students and parents, and yet the pandemic still was like, I can't do this. Like my son was not the right fit for homeschool. It was really
Yeah,
hard.
and it
Yeah.
was it was terrifying. And they don't, I'm their mom, and
Yeah.
it was really hard to get into, like, okay, how am I
I'm
gonna
not
do this?
teacher. Yep.
And then in the middle of my panic, I had this, I was cleaning up the kids' stuff in the basement and I stumbled upon this toy. And it was like a little like blankie type thing from when my oldest, who at that time was almost turning 10, like it was his and it was just kind of in the corner. And it made me remember being a first time parent. And,
Mhm.
on that Instagram post, I kind of shared a little bit about how when I wanted a family, I wanted kids, but it wasn't easy for me. Like a lot of people I'm sure who are
Yeah.
watching or listening, it was just a journey. Infertility, I had miscarriages, and there was a really strong chance I thought that maybe I would not be a mother, and that was devastating.
Hmm.
And then when I finally got pregnant and we were gearing up to that finish line of 40 weeks. And finally, the baby's here. And this was the moment. This was the moment I'd been waiting for years and years and years. And I just remember, he was in this little, like, swaddled up next to me in his little bassinet in the hospital. And I just kept looking at him and saying, I was waiting. I'm like, love and emotion and
Yeah.
the music to well up. And all I thought was, what have I done? What have I done? I can't, there's no take back. I can't,
Hmm.
this isn't a phase. I can't just say, you know what? Not for me,
Yeah. Oh my God. I had the exact same feeling. We got home from the hospital and everything just felt like, wait, I wish I could just like send him back. Like what, like everything's different. Like my life is just flipped upside down now. And I did not have that instant like, oh, I'm madly in love with this sweet baby. It was just like, who is this foreign thing in our house right now? Which you feel
Exactly.
like, oh my God, now I feel guilty because I'm supposed to have this like motherhood instinct. And it instantly
Right.
was like, my life is different and I don't know if I'm
Right.
ready for this.
Right. And I wonder how much of that for me was just baby blues, like
Yeah.
all the things.
Oh, for sure.
But I feel like I've been run over by a truck. I just
Hmm.
delivered a child, and now I must feed this child and I must change it.
And never
It was
sleep.
And most of all, I just felt so incompetent because I felt like all this time trying to get pregnant. Oh, here, take this
Mhm.
medicine, take this, inject this shot. Okay, now you're pregnant. Come to your appointments. We'll do the ultrasound. What are you eating? What's your blood sugar levels? Everything was managed. And then
Yes.
they gave
Here
me
you
the
go.
baby. They put me in a wheelchair and they took me to the car. And they're like, bye-bye.
And now what? Why aren't the nurses coming with me?
And so I was absolutely terrified. And luckily my mom was around to help out and my husband was home. And so I had support, but I just was like, I can't do this. I don't know what to do. I made a big mistake. And then yeah, like a few days into him being home with me, I had this dream about that I was drowning and I was in the middle of a lake and I could not figure out the way to shore. And I was like, I guess this is it. I guess I'm drowning. And I felt this panic. And then this little hand came out and it grabbed my hand. And I looked and it was my son, just a few days old, but he was smiling at me. And he took my hand and he just swam us to shore.
Mm.
And it was one of those dreams where I woke up and I just suddenly felt, okay, wow. I remember now. I remember how terrified I was as a new mother. And I remember thinking I didn't know what I was going to do, but I'm not in this alone as a mother. I have my child. My
Yeah.
child is going to help me. My child is going to cry when they're hungry. They're going to cry. They're going to fidget when they have a diaper. I'm going to learn. And so I
Yeah.
just, I'm a reader. As a writer, you read. I read all the parenting books, but none of that holds up in the face of a real live human who
Yes.
is utterly dependent on you. But that dream really helped me to realize, okay, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to teach him so many things, but he's going to teach me how to be his
Mm.
mother. And so yeah, in that post, I was reminding myself as I began a homeschooling journey, which we did for about 2 years, that I don't know what I'm doing with homeschooling. Sure, I was a teacher, but
Yeah,
that's
right. I have
homeschooling is
my
different.
credential, but
But
throw
this is
that out the
different.
window. This is
This is
different.
different. And that, just like as becoming a mother, and then I did it 3 times. I have 3 kids. So I guess
Uh-huh.
I figured it out. And so, just like I was scared then, I'm scared now, but we're going to make it through. My kids are going to teach me how to school them, and I'm going to teach
Mhm.
them, and we're going to get through it. And yeah, so I posted this, and my editor, Nancy Paulson, who has published most of my children's books, she saw it and she just hopped on a call. She says, this is real. Like moms
Yeah.
get, this is a real emotion. You're not the only one. We should make this into a book. And so we did. And it's interesting because when I wrote the book, he was about 9 going on 10, and now he's 15.
Oh
So
my
it's like it takes
gosh.
a long time, even though it's a picture book, not many words. It can take time. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
going to read one quote from that post that you had. So you described
Sure.
your dream because this, like, when I read this, I'm like, she gets it. She gets it. So you described your dream and then you said, "This is how parenting has unfolded for me, a path I'm learning and feeling my way through with my children grasping my hand one step at a time, making it through together." I just like that's it. Yeah. And do you feel like too as they get older, like at the beginning you're this new parent and you're figuring out like the baby, all of that. As they get older, like now I have a preteen and I'm like, I'm even more confused at what I'm doing. Like, why was I arguing with him the other day about a math problem? Like I'm still like needing him to help teach me like I am learning that I have to have the last word. And so does he. And so now I'm like, oh gosh, he's really teaching me. Maybe I just need to like zip it sometimes. And this is not worth the fight.
That is the thing. And the journey doesn't end once they're out of diapers at all.
Mm-mm.
And I used to roll my eyes when mothers and fathers of older children would see me with my little one, like, fussing, and they're like, little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. I
Ugh.
said, oh, stop it. And now I'm like,
Oh no,
now
this is hard. This is hard right now. Oh, wait.
and now I'm like, I wish I was stressed about their naps and
Me
not
too.
about the
Oh,
complicated friendship dynamics at school. And
yes.
now they have problems. I cannot just nap away or, give a
Right.
bottle to. Now it's so we're still, like you said, learning. We're learning about ourselves and
Hmm.
our own hangups and our own, they show us, reveal a lot about who we are and who they
Right.
are. So
Right. And
it's
just
all
a
within.
reminder too,
Yeah.
we don't need to be the experts. Like I am
Yeah,
not going to get this right the first try. Oh man.
absolutely.
And with
Absolutely.
each kid too, you think like, okay, I've gone through it with this one. We're going to be fine. Well, the second and third are totally different than the first one.
They're
And
all different, absolutely. So you
mm,
learn with each one. It's a bespoke experience with each child.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, what is something you hope new moms will feel after reading your book?
I hope that new moms will resonate. I mean, of course, you want everyone to have that insta love with their child, but I hope
Mm,
that for the mothers who maybe just have that 1 second, that this book will help them feel seen. I think that's a hope for me. It's a really loving book. It's a love story of a mother and a child, but I really hope that it can be a gift that a friend can give their expecting friend, just to say, hey, you're not alone and you're going to figure this out. It's a picture book, but it's also a parenting guide in a way of you know what to do. You have it within you and you
right.
will get to the other side. So
Right. And I
that's
think
what I
it's
hope.
so helpful for moms to know, especially those new moms, that it's okay if you don't feel that instant bond. Like it
Absolutely.
is something that will come. Like now I
Yeah,
look back, I'm like, I love my kids to death. But to know like it doesn't have to be the way like these perfect little movies show it. I love that.
absolutely. And I feel like there's so many board books about mothers and kids that I love, and
Mhm.
but they're all usually about that love, that intensity of
Yeah.
that very real love. And I'm hoping this book adds one more nuance to it, to that amazing collection of books out there. So you can read all of them, but just one. This one is a little more geared to the mom to help her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like there's always so much we can teach our kids, but we never really look at the other side. Like, what are they teaching us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, love that. How has becoming a mom changed the way you write? So, at what point did you become a writer? Did you have kids yet, or were you?
So I would, I mean, I've been writing forever, but as a published author, like I decided I was as I said, I was a teacher. Then I went to law school and I was actually, but through it all, I wanted to be a writer.
Okay.
That was my dream. I wanted to be an author. I was always writing on the side. And then once I got pregnant and it seemed like things were good to go, I started having an existential crisis because I was like, I'm a lawyer and now I'm going to be a mom. When am I going to write? When is that going to happen? And so for me, I realized I need to give myself a chance to try the writing thing and see where it goes. And
Mhm.
so, and which is a privilege that I was really lucky that we were able to do, that I was able to do that. And so I decided I was going to stay home for the first year and just take care of the baby and also work on my writing because I knew I couldn't also have a full-time
Right.
job as well.
Right.
And so one had to go. And so we decided to take that leap. And yeah, and so I mean, my kids have only really ever known me
As a
mostly as
writer.
an author, but it took years. So I wrote my very first book, which was a young adult book called Written in the Stars, and it took a few years, before I mean, I had an agent pretty quickly, but it took time to get published. But so yeah, this entire time that I've been writing alongside having kids. And a funny story is that my oldest, who this story is based on, he watched my writing struggles as he was growing up as a toddler. And so I got my first book deal when he was about 2.5, and I had a newborn baby at home.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, it was with Nancy, who also published this book, Nancy Paulson. And I remember I took the call in the basement because while the husband watched the kids and made sure they didn't come down to
Yes.
interfere. And I remember I came up the stairs and I was shaking. I was like, and my husband's like, what happened? What happened? And I'm like, Penguin wants to publish my book. Penguin wants to publish my book. And we were so excited. And then, I later heard him talking to a friend at the playground, and he was like, so no human wanted to publish Mama's book.
Oh, a
But a,
penguin.
but a, but a penguin is
Oh,
dying. I didn't even know that he thought like, I thought he outgrew that. But then when he met her at age 4, he was like,
you're not a penguin.
it was so disappointing. I was like, why are you so disappointed? Because she's not a penguin. I'm like, she's what? He goes, you said penguin bought your book, and there's a
Oh,
penguin on the spine. And so yeah,
uh-huh.
it's been part of their lives. Like they've grown now. Of course, he's 15, so he may not
Hmm.
love this story, but it's so
No, you
sweet.
inspired it. How do you find time to write as especially a mom with little kids? Like when you're
That was
exhausted and all you want to do is like, they're down for a nap, I need to nap. How did you find time to write?
it's a blur now. Because yeah, that's a good question. I did have help from family. They don't live in town with me, but they would come often to see the baby. And whenever they came to see the baby, they came for a week.
Right.
I was like, okay, here's the baby. Let me know when he
Hmm.
needs to eat, and I will be upstairs. And really, I think stubbornness of just like, I need to do this. I want to see this through, but it is a challenge. It is not easy to be a parent to little ones and to
Hmm.
write, but in a way, I'm grateful. I've learned how to write while people are screaming in the background. I've learned to, I know some authors are like, I need pure quiet and I need lighting like this and I need this cup of tea. And I've had to, my whole writing career has really been with children underfoot. And so it's given me it's been helpful in that sense that I can write anywhere. I can write on a plane now. I can write with music blaring.
Oh, wow.
I
Yeah.
can do it everywhere. So in a sense, they've helped me create a superpower.
Yes, right. You're
Yeah,
like, it's too quiet. I can't write.
exactly. Exactly.
But what a great thing to show them. And do you feel like too that creative outlet is something that gives you purpose? Because sometimes as a mom, you stay at home, you do the mom thing. Sometimes you can kind of lose yourself. So having this as like your special thing, has that helped you as just an individual?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really important. And whether it's something that you get paid to do or not, it's important to have your own sense of self throughout, you know? And I
Mhm.
really, really strongly believe in that. And so, yeah, I think so. Now that it's become my job, though, I do try to find other creative avenues. And so, like, I do, you know, I find it in my cooking, I find it in other ways. But yeah, and I hope kids seeing me writing and rewriting and, you know, throwing things away and starting over, I hope those are all lessons that they're getting. But yeah, I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Are any of your boys into writing?
Um, I hope so. My boys are really into collecting lots of notebooks and stationery and
Oh,
then writing on one page and then leaving it.
uh-huh.
They follow me in that way. I hope so. They love reading, thank goodness. And they, you know, and I hope they do. They do say they complain that their teachers have higher expectations of them with their writing because they're like, your mom's an author.
Oh,
You need to know.
hmm.
So
That's why
yeah.
sometimes I look at my son's writing. My oldest does not love school. It's like she asked me to write this. I'm writing the bare minimum. But as a former teacher, I'm like, oh my God, like she's not making you do more. Like that's all. Like don't you want to write more? I'm like, come on. So it's hard to be like the former teacher, like, I don't,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't have accepted this. Do it again. Make it
Yeah,
neater.
but
Yeah.
when it comes time for, you know, when they needed to learn how to write essays and during the pandemic, for example,
Hmm.
I hired people to help and my friends would say, "But you're a writer." I'm like, "I'm their mom." Like my
Right.
piano teacher told me, she helped me feel better. My son's piano teacher said her son learned from a teacher, not from her because she was mom. So I'm like, I've just
Right.
made peace with it. It's okay.
And sometimes, like, I
Yeah.
feel like it's better for our relationship because I totally understand now when I would do parent teacher conferences with parents and they'd be like, can you tell my son to do this at home because he doesn't listen about his homework, whatever? I'm like, no, I'm the teacher. Like, you tell him. Now I'm like, absolutely. I can
Yes.
totally see. This is why, like, the homeschool thing didn't work for us. I'm like, he does not look at me as his teacher. He looks at me as his mom. And
Yeah.
that was like
Yeah,
butting
and you
heads
want to
there.
preserve that
Right.
relationship of mother and child. And so,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the book honors learning as you go. What has motherhood taught you the most?
Goodness. I think motherhood has really just it's taught me the importance of flexibility. I had such expectations when I became a mother of the things I would do. There'd be no screen time in my house. There'd be
Yes.
and it would be so simple.
Uh-huh.
And
Never eat in the car. Yeah, none of that.
never eat in the car. That was one. Yes, never eat
Yep.
in the car and all these different things. And I really I learned so much humility and like, you know, just this humbling that children do to you, you know. And I like I remember there was this one mom who I love her, but she had kids that are older than me, and I didn't have kids yet. And I would see her and her two boys. We'd go out to dinner, and she'd say, "Okay, whoever finishes first is the winner. Ready, set, go. Eat your food." And I said, why are you making this a competition? They should enjoy eating for eating, and they should. And I see, I do. I'm like, oh yeah, she did that. I'm gonna get my kids to finish their food, and
I
I
know,
do
right?
that.
Just take a bite of something. Yes.
Exactly. So I think that's the biggest thing, you know, and just and also I think that I've learned to embrace that. I've learned to embrace the mistakes and the and that humility that you get of just this is part of parenting.
Mhm.
It's not a fail. It's part of it. And I
Yes.
mean, my parents are, you know, I feel like I'm still their child and we still have interactions where they're learning like, oh, okay, you know. So I mean, parenting is a lifelong journey. I realize
Mhm.
you don't turn off the switch. I mean, of course, you want your kids to get independent and move on and everything, but that relationship that stays, that bond.
Right.
Um,
Okay,
yeah.
speaking of mistakes, what would you tell a new mom who's worried she's doing everything wrong? That's totally how I felt. I felt like I can't get him to sleep. He's not gaining weight. Like, what would you tell that mom?
So I would tell that mom what my son's pediatrician told me a week into when I brought him in for the fifth time and
Mhm.
said, I don't know, he's looking a little
Something's not right.
fatigued. Yeah, I know they don't sleep well, but he's really not sleeping well. Like, can you please look at him? And I remember saying, like, am I doing something wrong? Is the heat too high? Is it too cold?
Mhm.
I remember her name was Dr. Fox, and she said to me, she said, listen, he's gonna be okay despite you. in spite of
Oh,
you. She's
yeah.
like, and that really, I would actually say that to myself, like, he's gonna
Hmm.
be okay. Like, I'm trying my best and I am doing everything I should. I am doing everything I should, and he'll be okay
He'll be
despite,
okay. I
yeah.
mean, looking back now, I'm like, it's a miracle my three kids survived that. Like somehow we figured out how to keep those little like 6 pound babies alive. We did it. And people are doing it
Yeah.
around the world. Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
fast and it's fascinating because I have three. And so the advice is like the first one, everything revolved, every
Uh-huh.
scrape. And we were at the playground the other day, and my 9-year-old, at that time he was 9, he was running and he fell. He just fell face forward. And the other moms around me just gasped, like they all had their newborn. And I'm like,
He's
he got
fine.
up. He's
He's
good. He's
fine.
up. He's running.
Yes. Yep.
And but when my first was a baby, I would have like probably taken
Hmm.
him to the urgent care and say like, did he
Totally.
get a concussion? Is he
Yes,
okay? And
yes.
by the
You
third one,
learn
I
to
was
kind of
like,
just relax a little bit. That's how I
yeah.
felt when they were newborns. By my third, it was nice knowing like we could experience the newborn stage as relaxed as we could
Yeah.
be, but
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to enjoy it more. Like it was so much more enjoyable, even though it was busy with two other kids. I'm like, I got to just relax through that one. And then the
Hmm.
pandemic hit and we were all home and
Yeah,
that was
that
crazy.
is not supposed to be part of
No.
the parenting journey.
No, no. Aside from the pandemic, we were somewhat relaxed and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Switching gears a little bit, you are the founding member of We Need Diverse Books. How has advocating for representation influenced the stories that you tell in your books?
Yeah, so I'm one of a few founders for We Need Diverse Books, and it started off as a really a hashtag online, where we were just
Oh,
talking
wow.
about why it's so important, and it just grew and grew and grew, and it became this viral sensation. And we realized after it was getting so much attention, so much positive attention, so many people were on board about how important it was that we needed to become an organization. And so that's how it came to be. And I I growing up really didn't see people like me. Like, I'm Pakistani American, South Asian. Like, I didn't see people like me in books. They probably existed. I just didn't maybe have access. There weren't as many.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's not something that's like a mission for me that I must, but a lot of most of my books are fiction, but they all are a part of me because they come from
Hmm.
me. And so I write from my experiences. So by nature, they feature South Asian protagonists. And so yeah, it's not a mission I have, but I do feel really grateful that I get to tell these stories. These days, it's complicated because I write for children, and there's been a lot of pushback on diverse books. And I've even had some of my books banned at schools, which is,
Really
yeah,
heartbreaking.
yeah, it's
Mm.
heartbreaking. And so yeah, but that doesn't stop me. That doesn't
Right.
stop any of us from telling the stories because
Yeah.
they're important. I just think it's so important for kids to feel seen,
Hmm.
which, like I said, this book is not about a South Asian mom in particular. There's a diversity of, mothers in the book. There's all sorts of different mothers in the book. But I'm hoping that this book helps mothers feel seen,
Right.
mothers in general, that group. But that's always my goal. And also for those outside of the culture, outside of the experience, to get a taste of what it's like, because
Yeah.
fiction is been shown through research to increase empathy in people and to increase awareness and understanding. And so that's my hope. That is, that's the
Love
dream.
that. Love it. Okay.
Mhm.
Question as an author, do you choose the illustrator? Have you used the same illustrator for your books?
Well, that's a great question. So I just write the text,
Okay.
and that the process usually starts with that. I write the text, I share it with my editor, and then from there we try to figure out who the best fit is. So far, I've not had a repeat on any of them. I have written
Okay.
5 picture books, and they've all been different illustrators. And my editor Nancy, she really loved Ebony Glenn, who illustrated this book, and I mean, she did a
Oh,
beautiful
it's
job.
beautiful. That's what you're showing the pictures. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And she did an amazing job. And she actually illustrates and writes her own books. So we weren't sure if she would say yes, because a lot of times when people write their own
Mhm.
stories and illustrate them, and she's a really busy person, but I was really lucky that she was available and that she was able to do it. And you know, I write the words and we let the artist have their
Right.
interpretation
Mhm.
of the text. And we go back and forth a little bit. Like if it's completely different from what I was thinking,
Mhm.
we'll tweak it. But really, she gets complete freedom. And then it's just so fun. It's probably the most collaborative experience because, sure, I wrote the words, but there is no picture book without the pictures, without the art.
Right.
And
Right. And
so
that's
it's
such a
really
part of the personality of the book is what it looks
exactly,
like.
exactly. Yeah.
So
So that
cool.
that's really special. And I mean, I don't get to do that with my novels. It's really special with my picture books
Mhm.
to get to
Love
work with somebody else and get to see what they took from my words and
Right,
how it
right. See if
resonated with
what's in my head is what
them.
they also
Right.
see.
Exactly.
Oh, that's such a
Yeah.
fun process. Love
Yeah.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
before we sign off, will you tell us where we can find your books and learn more about you?
Sure. So you can check out my website. It's aishasaeed.com, my first and last name. I'm also on Instagram, Aisha CS. And my books are everywhere books are sold, Barnes and Nobles, online, everywhere books are sold. So yeah,
Love
I hope
it.
you'll
Well,
check it out.
thank you so much for sharing about your book, but also opening up about your motherhood journey.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me. This was so much fun to chat with you.
Perfect. Special thanks to Aisha for coming on and joining me for this Momversation. Her words, her heart, her honesty was such a gift, especially to moms who are really in the thick of learning as they go. Now, if you haven't yet, make sure to check out Aisha's newest book, You and Me Baby. It's truly the perfect baby shower gift, bedtime story, or just a keepsake for families. And to you listening, whether you're holding a newborn or chasing toddlers or have a preteen at home, you are doing it, you're learning as you go, and we're all in this together. Thanks for hanging out with me today on the Burnt Pancakes podcast. I'll see you next week for more stories and laughs and real mom moments. And like always, I want to remind you that everyone burns their first pancake, so just keep flipping.